Okay, this next video is for our policies and procedures during your time in the nursery, and I've switched up. I've come over to the 1- and 2-year-old nursery for now, so that make sure we can show you some things in each nursery. But as a continuation from last one, just be alert whenever you come into the nursery and check to make sure that your children are in here, that the ones that are signed in, you've got the same count. Sometimes parents will come in and drop their child off and not sign them in. So we need to make sure that if they're in the nursery, they're signed in on the sheet. So just check that real quick. Make sure that the number that's signed in on the sheet matches the number that's in your classroom, so that all the children are accounted for. The next thing that I put on here for during the nursery is have an activity schedule, and this really doesn't fit for the babies. I mean, you're basically just taking care of the babies. You're feeding them, changing them, doing things like that. When you move into, this is my classroom, the 1- and 2-year-old classroom. When you move into this classroom, you can do a little bit more with this age. They can talk back and forth to you, and you can do things with them. So it's nice while you're in here to have some type of something to do with them. We have added a DVD player in here, and right now there's it's over here on the counter. There's a DVD in there with just some little songs, and there's another one beside it. And if you need more, I have tons of those in my office. But we have that, so you can turn that on and have that playing, just so that the songs are kind of getting in the kids' heads. We sing with them a whole lot more when we move over into the 3s, but that gets them kind of used to the songs, and it's some of the ones that we sing over there. I also have these pictures in here, and they're just kind of over here to the side, but it's just basically all of the things that God made. God made the day and the night. It kind of goes through creation. You know, God made the fish. God made the seasons. And these are stuff you can just kind of take and you know, even if it's just with one child sitting at the table or whatever, you know, you can take those and be talking about the things that God made. And they're laminated so they can put their hands all over them and we can wipe them off. So you can do those type of things with this age. You can also sing. They love to sing. Sometimes it gets real busy and we just don't have time to do that. But if it's, you know, if the morning's going great and everybody's just kind of in good moods and you're just kind of sitting there, I love to sing. I know some people don't. But if you can sing and you like to sing, then sing with them. And if you want to bring something in to do with them, if you're talented in that, you know, in that area, and you want to bring some type of little lesson in with them or something like that, or if you love to do puppets, you know, have fun. I know some of the teens are in here, and like Colby, we put him in puppets in 3-year-olds. He loves doing that. So if you've got someone in here that's younger that would like to do something like that with them, I'm going to stick a couple of little hand puppets in here, so you can do, you know, some type of activity schedule. When we move over to the 3s, we really try to stay a little bit more organized with them. On Sunday morning, I'm usually in there with them. We let them play for the first 30 minutes. Then we sit down, we have a lesson with them. They have a Bible memory verse. We sing with them. We do the little puppet show with them, and so they're learning a lot more at that age. And I've told several of you who are in there on Sunday nights that the stories are up on the bulletin board, and you can take them off and read the story on the back, just so that they're getting it constantly and reviewing, going over their story and their Bible verse. Wednesday night, they also have a lesson in there that Miss Sarah and Miss Hannah do with them, and they usually do an activity sheet. So there's usually things in there for them to do and for you to go over with them, even if it's just looking at the stories and saying, hey, tell me what you learned about this morning, you know, in morning church. So just have something that you can do with them so that, you know, you're engaging them. Like I said, they're hearing about Jesus. They know that Jesus loves them. They know that God made them and that he loves them. So some type of activity schedule and just interacting with the kids while you're in here during nursery. A feeding or a snack schedule. In the babies, when they sign in, they fill out a whole separate sheet that gives feeding instructions on it. So it may be a meal that you put them in the high chair and give them a meal. And I know some people get very specific on that, so just follow the parents' instructions on that. When you get up into this nursery and the 3-year-olds, we usually have a specific time that we do our snack time. And in here on Sunday morning, we try to make it during the transition so that they're sitting, they're a little bit calmer with people coming in and going out. It's not too much of a disruption for them. So that's when we try to do our snack time in here. In the 3-year-olds on Sunday morning, our specific time is when we sit down and do our lesson, because it kind of keeps their hands busy and their mouths busy, and they can listen a little bit better. So just follow a specific snack schedule. We don't want the ones that are walking with snacks in their hands or cups in their hands, and then walking up around the room, because they drop it, they get stepped on. So make sure that they're sitting at the table when they're eating a snack. And then if they're walking around with their cups, that's usually okay, but just make sure if they put it down, that you pick it up, put it in the refrigerator is what we do in here, so that another child doesn't pick it up and take a sip of it. While I'm on that, if they come in, they have a cup, go ahead and label their cup as soon as it comes out of their bag, so that we know whose cup it is. And I usually just ask the parent, do you mind if I write their name on their cup? And I've never had one that said, no, don't do that. So just make sure that you label anything that comes out of their bag. If it's a pacifier, I know those are hard to label, but we need to make sure that if it comes out of their bag, it stays with them. So make sure that we label everything. Let's see. The next thing I have on during your time in the nursery is never leave the nursery or remove a child from the nursery. There should always be 2 workers in the nursery at all times. That's for your safety, or so if something happens with a child, one person stays in while one person, yells out in the hallway or whatever. We've never had that, but there's always to be 2 workers in a nursery at a time. And so that would be the adult, and if you've got a teen helping you, or, junior hire, if they're helping you, but as long as there are 2 workers in the nursery, we need to keep it that way. If you need to step out of your nursery for some reason, we've got security guys that are always in the hallway. So if you want to poke your head out and say, hey, will you come stand right here in the doorway while I go do this or whatever. But we need to make sure that there's always 2 workers in the nursery. Again, that's for your safety and for the safety of the children. And then never walk out into the hallway with a child. I know sometimes we have a child who's upset and they just don't want to be in the nursery, and so when we take them outside of the nursery, they calm down because they think they're leaving. But for safety reasons, we cannot do that. So I've got these little signs on the on the walls just as a reminder to please don't take children out of the nursery, and then to make sure that there's always 2 workers. If the child just won't calm down, then page the parent, let the parent come in and take them. If a grandparent or something like that comes in and wants to take them, that is fine as long as they are on the card. Okay, so in each nursery we have these cards that give the child's name, the guardian's name, and then it says people who are authorized to pick up the child. So if anybody but the parent comes in to pick them up, just please make sure that their name is on this, that they are authorized to pick that child up. And then it also gives, is it okay to give them a snack? Is it okay to give them, if somebody brings in something, really they don't do that in this nursery, it's more in the 3s, but they have okayed or not okayed for them to have animal crackers, goldfish, fruit puffs, if there's anything special we should know about the child. So that's where these are in the 1- and 2-year-old nursery. They're on the wall in the newborn nursery, and I need to get them for the 3-year-old nursery, but we will have them in the 3-year-old nursery. Okay, so just never leave the nursery with a child. Make sure whoever picks up the child is authorized to pick up the child. One other thing is we never use any type of physical discipline on a child. We just use timeout, setting them off by themselves. And if they just are still being ugly and you can't get control of them, then page the parent and let the parent come and deal with them. And that'll be fine. And then during the nursery, back to the potty and the diapers. I have on here to make sure the diaper's clean is for the parent when they pick up their child. And then I have some suggested times to check diapers during Sunday school, like at 10:40 a.m., morning service 11:45, and Sunday evening 6:45, Wednesday evening 7:45. And if you're checking them kind of at that time, then chances are they're going to be clean whenever their parent picks them up. And then whenever you change their diaper, they have the sign-in sheet here. I'm trying to make sure I get it. And you can just write down if they were wet or they were dry or they had a stinky diaper. And some people write the times down, you know, when they change them. I think that's a good idea. But just mark on here that they have been changed. And then, like I said, for ones that are potty training, we do have the bathrooms in here. And one of the things that we need to really follow with this is if we bring them to the bathroom, number one, they don't ever come in here by themselves. So we don't want to leave them alone in the bathroom by themselves. But we do want to keep this door open in this nursery and just kind of stand here and help them potty. Don't close yourself in the bathroom with a child by themselves. That's just, like I said, with the day and age that we live in, there are just so many things that can happen these days, accusations that can be made. And so this is for your safety. Just stand here, help the child if the child needs to be helped, but don't shut this door with just you and the child in the bathroom. And then just help them. In the 3-year-old class, in the bathroom, I'm sure all of you have noticed, but that door can stay open. We've got the changing table there in the bathroom so that looking straight into the bathroom, you can't see the child sitting on the toilet. And we did that on purpose so that that door can stay open when a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old goes in there to potty. And they can, you know, if they need us for anything, then they can yell and we can hear them. But again, never shut yourself in the restroom with a child. Let's see. Then I just keep the room picked up as much as possible while you're in there so that you're not tripping over toys. You're going to do this a gazillion times while you're in the nursery, but that's okay. It's just so that it kind of stays picked up. If there's any loose crackers or things that get dropped on the floor, if you'll pick those up during the course of it. And then I put on here just teach children about Jesus through age-appropriate songs, stories, playing with them, that kind of thing. So I think that about covers everything during the nursery. Oh, I did write on here, never force a child to go to the potty if they just don't want to go. You know, if they tell you no, you have asked, you have tried, and so maybe just write on the sheet that child would not go to potty, and don't ever force them to go to the potty. And then on the sheet, whenever we're potty training and I take one, again, usually I'll write on here PP'd, I'll put PPD and put the time that they went to the potty, just so that the parent will know that they did go to the potty, whether they did anything or not. And then I just put keep a pleasant atmosphere. Philippians 1:27 says, only let your conversation be as becometh the gospel of Christ. So we always want to speak kindly to the children, to the parents. Don't gossip or complain while you're in the nursery. And so those are all the things for during the nursery.